everybody, Jen here, and as you can see by my counter, or no, those are curtains, not the counter, I should be introducing an unboxing video, but I'm not. Today, we are doing a cooking video, so we're going to do an ugly but edible episode. So, follow along. Alright, so in today's video, we're going to be making a slow cooker enchilada quinoa. So I talked a little bit before about how Lee and I are trying to actively eat healthier. So we're going to more of a veggie-centric diet, not necessarily vegetarian, because we're still eating like everything. We haven't cut anything out of the diet. We're just adding a lot more veggies into what we're eating. All right, so to start, this is a Crockpot meal. So I have my Crockpot. All right, so I will set this up kind of how I did before. I will type up the recipe in an article on our themeparkohana.com website, and then I will put the link to the specific recipe page in the description below. So to start, we have to prep some of our veggies. There's actually only two. There's just one red bell pepper and one onion, but we have to dice them both up. Next up is our, it says one small onion. This was the smallest onion I had. So it's probably gonna be very oniony, which will be fine for Lee because he loves onions. And we are going to dice this bad boy up as well. All right, got my onion all prepped, and we're gonna dice it in 3, 2, 1. Aha, diced onions. And then the last of the actual prep work that I have to do is we need the juice of one small lime. So do any of you guys do the same trick that I do where you throw your lemons and limes in the microwave for about 10 to 20 seconds just to get the juices really flowing? So I did this one, it was small, so I only did it for 10 to start. Didn't quite soften it enough. Rolled it a little and did it for another 10 seconds. And now, as you can see, it's nice and juicy. The recipe also calls for half a cup of water. So I already measured that out. And then I'm just gonna add my lemon to it. Oh, it's gonna be annoying. Let's see, how will fit better that way. Gotta get creative, guys. And then I have my little juicer. This is like the greatest invention. I love this. I use it on lemons and limes all the time. It gets all the juice out. Wow, there was a lot of juice in there. So it actually went from half a cup to almost 2/3 of a cup once I put the juice in. Nice. So that was the last of the prep work. So now it's literally just time to dump everything into the crock pot. So first we have 1 cup of uncooked quinoa, rinsed, which is why it's a mess, because it's wet from rinsing it. Love quinoa. It's a pain in the butt because it's so tiny and it sticks to everything. Close enough. Then we have the water and lime juice. Whee. Small onion diced. Again, I used a little bit bigger, probably closer to a medium-sized onion, but that's okay. 2 cloves of garlic minced. I buy the pre-minced garlic because I'm lazy. This is closer to like 3 to 4 cloves. I love garlic, so I always put extra garlic in anything I cook. 1 red pepper, seeds removed and diced. Then 2 15-ounce cans of black beans, rinsed and drained. 2 10-ounce cans of mild red enchilada sauce. I actually found a 20-ounce can. Well, it's 19 ounce, so it's just a hair less than they wanted. But that's okay. I need to get a spatula to get the rest of that out. One 15-ounce can of diced tomatoes. And I just do the Walmart brand. Because you're adding other stuff to spice it up, so you don't need like the fancy seasoned brands. It calls for a can of chopped green chilies. I'm trying not to make this so spicy that I can't eat it, so I did omit the green chilies. It also calls for 1 cup of frozen corn. Forgot to add that to the grocery list, so I just have one can of regular whole corn kernels. The lime is already in, and then I have 1 teaspoon of ground cumin. And this is probably gonna make it too spicy for me, but it's 1 tablespoon of chili powder. It also calls for 1/3 cup of chopped cilantro, but neither Lee or I like cilantro, so we didn't add, so I won't be adding any of that. And just it says salt and pepper to taste. I don't add extra salt to food like ever. And just shaking a little pepper in there. So I did mix it up a little bit. You can see I gotta scrape some of those quinoas down just to make sure the liquid was pretty evenly dispersed, so all the quinoa was nice and wet and in the water. So now you cover and cook on high for 3 hours, which is what I'm gonna do because I am going to use my crock pot again after this for a different meal. Or you can do it on low for 6 hours until the liquid is absorbed and quinoa is cooked. There's one other thing that calls for is 1.5 cups of shredded Mexican cheese, but that you don't add till the very, very end. And that's it. Super simple. I'm gonna take a break now. I'll see you in 3 hours. So this is it. It's done. One thing we noticed is it was still pretty liquidy, so I just threw it in my skillet, and I have it on medium heat, just kind of boiling away some of the extra liquid, just so it's a little bit thicker, because if we tried to put this on a tortilla, it would be so messy. So I just have it, like I said, just boiling a little bit on medium heat, just to cook out some more of that liquid, just to make it a little easier to manage. And one other thing I'm doing is, instead of splitting the cheese, because most of this is going to wind up frozen in freezer meals, I put 2 cups of the shredded cheese in there because that'll also help thicken it up a little bit. And then this way, when they eat it, they can just sprinkle a little more cheese on top. Oh my gosh, now that's what it should look like. Look at that. That's good looking. All right, crock pot's washed. And I'm getting ready for the next recipe, which is a slow cooker vegetarian chili mac. Now again, I will type it up on the Theme Park Ohana website, and it will be in a blog post. So they will be separate posts for each recipe, and I will put the link in the description below. Okay, first up, it calls for 1 red bell pepper, but I bought a pack of 3, so I already used the red bell pepper for the last meal, so we're using it. Really?
You said everybody being so loud and it wasn't, so I had to take my turn of being loud.
Just want to film. So, I'm using an orange bell pepper and another onion, and these both have to be chopped up. Ta-da! And this is really the only prep work that needs to be done for this, because then you just place most of the ingredients in the slow cooker. So we're gonna place the onions and the peppers. I didn't break up the onions very good, but they'll break up more as they cook. Then there's 1 15-ounce can of pinto beans and 1 15-ounce can of kidney beans. I did red kidney because that was just the first ones that popped up. A 28-ounce can of crushed tomatoes. Again, I just did the Walmart brand because I didn't need any fancy flavorings because we're putting our own spices in this. It calls for 1.5 tablespoons of chili powder, but that's a lot of chili powder. So I just did a heaping tablespoon. So it's just a little bit more than 1 tablespoon. And it calls for 2 teaspoons of cumin. Then it calls for 1/8 of a teaspoon of black pepper, and I'm literally just shaking a little pepper in there. And then 2 cups of vegetable broth. And it also calls for 1/2 teaspoon of salt. However, I got the regular vegetable broth, so it has a pretty good amount of salt already in it, so I did not add any extra salt. You literally just stir to combine, and then you can cover and cook on high for 4 hours or low for 6 to 8. This one I'm going to do on low for 6 to 8 hours. We will come back later to finish, but just to give an overview, next we will be adding 8 ounces of uncooked whole wheat elbow macaroni, and that will go in, and then we'll cook it a little more. But for now, let's get this baby simmering. So our next recipe is actually a part of history. We're doing world history. We just recently learned about ancient Africa, and what we're about to make is an kind of tweaked version of an old ancient, like early African dessert. We're making raisin and banana bars. It's supposed to be date and banana bars, but nobody in this house will eat dates, including myself. So I just switched the dates with raisins. It's basically the same. But, so this not only counts as history, it also counts as a little bit of home ec. I made it super easy on Kay. I prepped everything. I measured all the ingredients out. All you gotta do is take turns dumping stuff in. But Kay, what is the first thing you do when you're gonna bake something?
Liquids?
Preheat the oven.
Oh.
So you're gonna preheat the oven to 350 degrees.
My brain doesn't work. 250 what?
350.
Oh.
All right, so step 1 complete.
Okay.
So next up, Kay is going to cream together the margarine and the sugar. This is the sugar, that's the margarine, and there's the spatula.
Butter.
Yeah, actually, it is butter because I don't use, well here, let's do this while you put that in. I don't use margarine, we only use butter in the house. So we are substituting the margarine for butter.
You're nothing. Might go in there and ask him to shh.
Okay, so now you're gonna lock it. And then I would put it at about 2. And just let that mix up very nicely. Ooh, blurry. Let that mix up all nice and creamy. It's not a ton of butter, so it doesn't get totally creamy. But next up, you're gonna add the egg and the vanilla. So you're just gonna dump the egg in. You gotta unlock it.
I did unlock it.
Oh.
Wake up. Egg.
Yep, we're just gonna dump that bad boy in there.
Egg.
And then you gotta actually measure out the 1 teaspoon. I have it sitting there for you. Pour slowly.
No, let us split out, so it's gonna.
And now you're gonna do the same. Now you're gonna mix it some more. Okay, so now we gotta start to add in the bananas and the dry ingredients. So you're gonna put some of the bananas in.
Some.
So it's 2 medium bananas.
But they're my bananas.
So this recipe doesn't actually specify how to do the bananas. So I cut each banana in half, then in half again, then in half again, and then just slice it into chunks. All right, so now you're going to add, the bananas are in. So now you're going to add 1 cup of flour, which is that. ¼ teaspoon baking soda, I think is that one. Nope, that's the baking powder. Sorry, that's what, ½ teaspoon baking powder. That's okay, it goes in. I just said the wrong one. Next is a ¼ teaspoon baking soda. a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Careful. And then you are going to, nope, not yet. Mix it again. Now, you're going to put the raisins in just a few at a time. Let them mix in, like while it's mixing. Okay, you can do more than that.
I don't know.
You do it kind of like you add chocolate chips. So you kind of just dump it a little bit at a time. And just let them mix in completely. All right, and then you pour it into an 8x8 baking dish. All right, oven is preheated. Now it just goes in for 30 minutes or until the edges are a golden crispy brown. So here is the enchiladas that I made earlier. They are nice and cool now and ready for me to be prepped to freeze these into freezer meals. So basically what I do is just take a regular plastic twist tie bag. I stretch it over a soup bowl and I measure out about 1 bowl's worth, about a serving's worth. And because this is liquidy, I have to do it this way. If it was a dry meal, I would just do it right into the cryovacs. Then I just wrap it and stick it there. And I just keep going. So that is 6 meals, although that one's a little less than the others because I did heaping scoops with these and I only had about 1.5 with that. But this will be 6 freezer meals. But now this whole thing, as it is, just goes right into the freezer until tomorrow. Lay.
Yes.
You need to try one. They're kind of messy. They definitely fall under the ugly but edible. I mean, it's basically banana bread with raisins.
Let's just say I didn't marry you for your cooking.
You definitely did not.
The next day.
So it is now the next day, and this video has taken a total left turn because last night we came home and the entire, what is this called? Countertop was covered in water. Apparently our faucet started leaking, and in the few hours we were out with friends, it had seeped completely across the countertop, went down behind the stove. We found out somewhere along here, the seal's not perfect because it was dripping between down the back of the cabinets. Underneath of the cabinets was all wet. And we didn't get home till like 11 o'clock at night and I just couldn't handle it. So, we just kind of laid towels everywhere, wrapped it up, played with it until he could get the leak to slow down enough that it would make it through the night. And then we went to bed. This morning, he took it apart. I actually am going to have to pull the spigot back out because he tried fixing it. We actually got it to stop leaking, and then I had to use the water to start soaking my crock pot and the little bit of dishes I had so that I could continue cooking today because, you know, I still have to make dinner for today. And it started leaking again. Ugh. So now half of my kitchen is on my dining room table, which is where I've been doing all my filming. So there's no more filming to be done here for a while, and I still have more meal prep to do, and I'm probably not going to be able to film it. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to do it because I don't have anywhere to do it at. Ugh, it's a mess. Like, nothing's ever simple. It's a brand new kitchen. That faucet's a year old. That's it.
So much later that the old narrator got tired of waiting and they had to hire a new one.
Okay, so next up, we're going to take a trip through the Disney movies, and I'm going to attempt to make Ratatouille. Now,
Rats are disgusting.
yes, they are. They're not cooking this meal, I am. And I can tell you it is not going to look anything like it did in the movie.
I'm not
But-
eating rat!
I understand that. But, yeah. So here's all of the veggies that go into it. It's 1 onion, 1 orange bell pepper, zucchini and squash. It says 1 large eggplant and grape tomatoes. However, you only use 1 cup of grape tomatoes, but because I'm chopping them, I don't know exactly how many I'll need out of the container, and fresh basil. And now, through the magic of editing, we are going to chop all of this up. So the first thing we're going to do is put 2 tablespoons of oil into the crock pot. You put all the ingredients in, mix them, and then turn it on high for 3 to 4 hours or low for 6 to 8. One thing you haven't seen me use yet is the fresh basil. I have to chop that up now, and that goes in at the very end. All right, and here it is. It has cooked for 3 hours on high. The veggies are perfect. And I just added the basil. Now I just gotta let it sit for a little bit. All right, so that is going to do it for this episode of Ugly But Edible Meal Prep. I did not get to show the end of the chili mac because of everything that happened with the sink. Lee absolutely loved it, and so did Jeremy. So I will be making that again. So there will be another video where we show that one more time, where I show how you finish it. But other than that, I got some great meal preps done. I got 6 meals out of the enchiladas. I got about 6 meals out of the veggie mac. And the ratatouille, I just did it in small, like single serve side dishes. So I think I got 7 or 8 out of that. And then I just fried up some regular veggies too that I didn't film at all. Just with some of the leftover veggies I had, some olives and mushrooms. And I had more squash and zucchini and peppers and onions, and that I made another, I think 6 or 7 side, like single serve side dishes that I froze as well. So we have tons of stuff in the freezer ready to go. But if you guys like these videos, please click that subscribe button, tap the like, and ring that notification bell so you always know when a new video is headed your way. Thank you so much for watching, and now we're on to the next adventure. Bye guys!
Today's video brought to you by Orlando for Families. For amazing prices and even better customer service on all of your stroller rental needs for your Orlando vacation, visit them at the website listed below, www.orlandoforfamilies.com. Use the promo code Ohana to save 15% off of their already competitive prices.